We're taught to fear the unknown, as if uncertainty means we're failing or lost. But what if it's the opposite? What if uncertainty is the exact signal that you're evolving? Think about it, every turning point in your life, every moment that shaped you came with discomfort. The job that ended, the door that closed, the risk you almost didn't take. None of it was clear, but all of it grew you. And here's the deeper truth. When you choose to face the unknown instead of resisting it, something powerful happens. Growth stops being something you do, it becomes who you are. Your very identity begins to expand beyond fear into possibility. This is what it means to break comfort zones. Not to control life, but to let life transform you into someone bigger than your old definitions. Uncertainty isn't the problem. Your resistance to it is. And the longer you resist, the more life has to shake you to get your attention. Why we fight uncertainty and how it costs us. Your nervous system likes patterns. Routines feel safe. They keep the fear response quiet. That's why you stick to a fixed plan, even when it no longer fits. Avoid change, even when you feel stuck. Keep relationships, jobs, and habits that no longer serve you, because at least they're familiar. Choose predictability over aliveness, even when your soul whispers for something more. But comfort isn't the same as alignment. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's right for you. And the longer you resist change, the more brittle you become. The more you build around certainty, the more you bury your real self beneath performance. You're not building a life, you're building a cage. And every time you shrink back from uncertainty, you reinforce the bars. Here's what resistance to uncertainty often looks like. Obsessive planning to avoid anything unexpected. Overthinking decisions out of fear of making the wrong move. Clinging to beliefs that no longer serve you because they once made sense. Measuring success by how stable everything looks on the outside. Equating control with safety, even as your inner voice grows quieter. That resistance keeps you small. It's expensive emotionally, creatively, and spiritually. You trade growth for control, and in doing so, you sacrifice curiosity, expansion, and truth. Half the time, the control you're gripping is an illusion anyway. What if uncertainty isn't the problem? Uncertainty isn't your enemy. It's just unmarked territory. It's the space between who you were and who you could be. It's the hallway between chapters dark, quiet, and essential. Growth doesn't happen inside your comfort zone. And let's be honest, when has your life ever followed a straight line? The jobs that shaped you, the people who changed your life, the risks that worked out. Almost none of those came from certainty. They came from unknowns you were willing to walk into, not because you felt ready, but because you refused to stay stuck. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also the birthplace of creativity. When the path isn't defined, you get to make one. Resilience, you prove to yourself that you can adjust, pivot, and survive. Insight, uncertainty forces you to listen to your gut. New possibility, things you never would have planned show up. Identity, every time you face the unknown, you meet a new version of yourself. The goal isn't to avoid uncertainty. It's to get better at living inside it, because it's not optional, it's essential. Uncertainty isn't a side effect of growth. It's the very terrain where growth takes shape. We already know this. The evidence lives in our stories. Confidence was born after the discomfort. Adaptability is strength, not compromise. There's a myth that adapting means lowering your standards or giving up. It doesn't. Flexibility isn't about letting go of what matters. It's about knowing what matters and being willing to change everything else. Real adaptability isn't about giving up, it's about showing up differently, with intention, with flexibility, with trust. Real adaptability means you can shift plans without losing purpose. You release the method, but protect the meaning. Even when the strategy changes, your core intention stays. You don't break when life changes shape. You bend, rebuild, and let change refine you without losing who you are beneath it. You stay present instead of obsessing over the outcome. You root yourself in what's real, trusting that clarity comes through motion, not overthinking. You stay resourceful even when your path disappears. You improvise with what you have, ask better questions, and find new ways forward, even when the old map is gone. You revise the dream without questioning your worth. You understand that evolving a goal doesn't mean failing. It means listening and growing. This is not about going with the flow in a passive way. It's about making flow your operating system, meeting change not as interruption, but as environment. It's about staying rooted while staying open, being responsive, not reactive, steady, not rigid. Strength in the unknown. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to stop letting fear make your decisions. The truth is, most of us are waiting for clarity before we act. But clarity doesn't usually come first. Movement does. You take a step, you mess up, you adjust, you keep going. And somewhere along the way, the path reveals itself, not before. The strongest people aren't the ones with airtight 5-year plans. They're the ones who can let go, pivot, and keep trusting themselves in motion. They move not because they know what's coming, but because they've learned to trust who they'll be when it arrives. Try this to build your uncertainty muscles. 1 micro shifts. Start small, take a different route home, eat at a new place. Introduce yourself to someone instead of waiting for them to speak first. These tiny shifts recalibrate your nervous system. They teach your brain that new doesn't mean unsafe. 2, cancel something and replace it with spontaneity. Pick one thing on your schedule this week. Cancel it without guilt. Replace it with an unplanned activity. Let something unfold without managing it. This is how you practice letting go without falling apart. Freedom lives in those unscripted moments. 3, say, "I don't know" out loud. There's power in those 3 words. They make space for curiosity, for honesty, for the possibility. Next time you want to bluff or pretend, don't. Just say it. Then ask questions. Not knowing isn't weakness, it's the gateway to expansion. Let curiosity do the heavy lifting. 4, do something you suck at. Learn to be bad at something again. Take up something you've never tried. Let yourself be a beginner. Let your ego sit down for a second. That discomfort, it builds flexibility. There's magic in the mess. Mastery starts with humility. 5, set a goal without a plan. Choose something that excites you. Write it down, but don't map it out. Just hold the vision. Start somewhere. Let the path show up as you walk it. This is how you build trust, not just in the goal, but in the version of you who's coming through it. And here's the paradox. The less uncertainty you allow into your life, the less growth can happen. Because growth doesn't live in certainty, it lives in motion, in challenge, in the spaces where the ground shifts and you discover what you're truly made of. Avoiding uncertainty might feel safe, but it's not responsible. It's how we abandon possibility. How we bypass potential. You weren't built to stay the same. You were built to evolve, so choose discomfort. Choose doubt. Choose stretch. Not recklessly, but responsibly. Because your future doesn't arrive through control. It arrives through courage. Let it be messy. Let it change. Let yourself not know. Flexibility doesn't make you flaky. It makes you capable, but you can still feel grounded. You won't always feel ready, but you can still choose to begin. And you won't always know where it's going, but that's okay. The unknown isn't empty. It's full of everything you haven't met yet. Identity expansion, who I am becoming. Every bold action rewires who you believe you are. You're no longer the person who avoids the unknown. You're becoming the person who moves forward anyway. That's a massive identity shift. You don't need to fake confidence. You need to build evidence. Evidence that you can handle uncertainty, that you can make mistakes and recover, that you can be scared and still act with intention. Identity statement exercise. Write 3, I am becoming statements that reflect this new version of you. Write these into the comments. Here are some examples of what one might think of. I am becoming someone who trusts myself in unpredictable situations. I am becoming someone who speaks up even when it's messy. I am becoming someone who sees change as opportunity, not a threat. Say them out loud. Let them live in your body. You're not waiting to be that person, you're building them one choice at a time. Once you understand that discomfort is the doorway to growth, you won't want to go back. It becomes addictive not because it's easy, but because it's real. You'll rise again and again, because every stretch reveals more of who you are becoming. You are becoming someone who chooses boldness over comfort, even when it scares you. You are becoming someone who travels for truth, not approval. You are becoming someone who feels fear and moves anyway. You are becoming someone who welcomes the unknown as a teacher, not a threat. By the way, if these exercises are hitting home for you, I've put together a free resource to take this even deeper. It's a set of ebook summaries that give you a quick, powerful overview of the core ideas from my books, plus practical prompts you can start using right away. You can grab your free copy through the link in the description. It's my gift to help you start rewriting your story today. Now, once you've learned to see uncertainty as strength, something else begins to happen. Growth stops being just a challenge you face. It starts becoming part of who you are. And that's where the real transformation takes place. Identity isn't fixed, it's built. You weren't born with a fixed identity. You built it consciously or not through repetition and reinforcement. Every time you avoid a challenge, your brain logs that, "I'm not the kind of person who does that." Every time you speak up, even if it's shaky, your system takes note, "I have a voice." Every time you go somewhere new, take a risk, challenge what used to define you, your nervous system adapts. "I can handle this." That's how identity works. Not through a single big moment, but through hundreds of small, consistent repetitions that add up until your sense of self starts to subtly but significantly shift. Each small action, each choice, each interaction contributes to the gradual evolution of who you are and what you believe yourself to be. Over time, these seemingly insignificant acts weave together to form the rich tapestry of your identity. And here's what most people miss. Your brain doesn't care if what you believe about yourself is true. It only cares if it's repeated. If you keep telling yourself you're not creative, not good with people, not confident, your identity will reflect that. Not because it's accurate, but because it's familiar. Why identity level change feels risky? Changing your behavior is hard. Changing your identity, that can feel like betrayal, not of others, but of the version of you they've come to expect. And sometimes, of the version you've used to stay safe. Because it doesn't just impact you, it impacts how others see you. And it forces you to question the rules you've been living by. Rules that might have rewarded you, protected you, or earned you love at a cost. Identity level growth often threatens your sense of belonging. Will the people in your life still accept you if you stop playing your old role? Your family's expectations. What happens when you stop being the good daughter, quiet one, provider, or fixer? Your own comfort with the familiar. Even if your old self was limiting, at least you understood it. And understanding can feel safer than expansion. That's why this work isn't just about courage, it's also about grief. Not mourning who you were, mourning who you needed to be. Real people, real growth. Growth at this level means you stop arguing with your past and start choosing your present. You stop chasing someone else's idea of better and start claiming your own version of true. Camilla's story, from background to grounded. Camilla always saw herself as quiet, background energy, kind but invisible. She didn't cause problems. She rarely spoke up. She was liked but not really known. At 31, she joined a creative workshop. Volunteering turned into leading a session. She stumbled through it with a shaky voice, rushed sentences, and lots of apologies. But something clicked. A spark ignited within her, transforming her hesitant attendance into unwavering commitment. She showed up again, not just physically, but with a renewed spirit. And again, each time gaining confidence and deepening her engagement. 6 months later, the quiet observer had become a dynamic leader, leading community events with infectious enthusiasm, mentoring teens with empathetic guidance, and facilitating profound conversations that genuinely changed people's lives for the better. not because she forced herself to be someone else, but because she gave herself the chance to practice being more. Today, no one would call her background. She doesn't have to act confident. She is confident. It's not a performance. It's integration. Confidence stopped being a costume and started becoming her skin. That's what it looks like when growth becomes identity. You don't erase the old version of you, you just outgrow her. The resistance is real, but so is the reward. It's natural to resist growth when it threatens how you've defined yourself. Your nervous system doesn't like ambiguity. Your social circle might not understand. Your inner critic will try to pull you back to the known. But staying stuck isn't neutral. It costs you. It costs you aliveness, expansion, self-trust. And eventually you feel it as a subtle sadness, a quiet voice saying, "This isn't who I really am." That voice won't go away. Not because you're broken, but because you're meant for more. Redefining yourself isn't ego. It's alignment. You're not rejecting your past. You're integrating it and choosing to move forward with clarity. You're not abandoning who you were. You're simply saying, "I'm ready for who I could be." That's not ego, it's evolution. Not selfishness, it's self-honor. A practice, evolve your self-definition. Here's a way to start embodying identity-level growth. 1. Write 2 lists. List 1, who I thought I was. Write 5 to 10 old self-beliefs. Be honest. I can't lead. I always play small. I avoid conflict. These are not flaws, they're old safety strategies. They helped you fit. Now you're allowed to rewrite. List 2, who I am becoming. Present tense, even if it still feels aspirational. I speak clearly. I trust my instincts. I lead with purpose. This list isn't fantasy, it's rehearsal. Future identity begins with lived repetition. 2. Choose one, act on it. Pick one line from your becoming list and live it out today. Not in theory, in practice. Give your body the experience of this new belief, not just your mind. Show your nervous system this is who you are now. Morning mirror practice, rewiring through repetition. Stand in front of the mirror each morning. Look yourself in the eye. Say, "This is who I am now. I honor who I've been, but I'm not bound to remain them. Growth is not what I do, it's what I am." Say it until it lands. Because your brain believes in repetition, and so does your nervous system. The more you live in alignment with your becoming, the faster your identity catches up. Integration, not reinvention. The point isn't to become someone completely new. The point is to shed what isn't true anymore. To stop clinging to identities built around survival or people-pleasing or shrinking to fit what made others comfortable. To start building an identity based on expansion, on truth, on self-trust. Growth becomes identity when you no longer have to prove who you are. You just be it. That's not arrogance. That's peace. Most people chase goals, thinking the achievement will finally make them feel different. But it's not the goal that changes you, it's the repeated decision to live as your future self now. Identity grows in the doing, not the dreaming. You're not here to just stretch once and collapse. You're here to build a new baseline, a new story. A new definition of who you are is written through consistent action, aligned choices, and quiet courage. This isn't performance. It's permission. You don't become someone new. You just stop pretending you were someone else. And when you stop pretending, you stop performing. You start arriving. And arrival doesn't need applause. It just needs alignment. Resistance radar. What's holding me back? Let's get honest about resistance. Most resistance isn't loud. It's subtle. It whispers in excuses. It shows up as endless planning and zero action. Or it looks like waiting until things calm down or I feel more ready. That day never comes. Exercise. Identify your resistance signals. What are your top 3 go-to distractions or stalling behaviors when growth opportunities show up? Growth debrief. What expansion feels like. After you take your stretch action, you're going to feel a mix of things. Maybe pride, maybe regret, maybe an urge to hide. That's normal. That's your nervous system adjusting to a new baseline. Use this. Describe what happened when you took your stretch action. Be honest. What worked? What did? How did you feel before, during, and after? Write your answers in the comments. You'll notice how many people resemble you. You're not alone in this, and seeing that connection can be powerful. If this video resonated with you, I want to invite you to go even deeper. You can get a free summary of my book Breaking Comfort Zones right now. The link is in the description, or just head to Level Up Now. Inside, you'll find the tools, prompts, and practical steps that will help you embrace uncertainty, expand your identity, and step boldly into the life you're meant to live. This video draws directly from the core teachings in my book Breaking Comfort Zones. Expand your world beyond fear into transformation, and its companion workbook. You'll find them linked in the description. They're designed to work side by side, giving you insights, tools, and guided exercises to help you move through fear, build resilience, and create lasting transformation. Carry this with you. Uncertainty isn't a threat, it's your pathway to growth. And the life you want is already waiting on the other side of comfort. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, and don't forget to subscribe.